Hello and welcome to another Alexander Technique video. Today we're going to be deepening your experience of the semi-supine or constructive rest. Lots of people often ask me, what do I do when I'm lying down? Well, let's have a good look at it. First of all, we're going to make sure that we get the right posture. Here we're adjusting the height of the books. Now that is important. I always try and tell people to use a different set of books each time, so that each time you go to it, you're thinking about your use, and of course avoiding falling into any bad habits of just using the same books, and doing things the same way. Change is the essential thing here. Now, of course, as we're lying there, we're just suddenly thinking about the whole body on the floor. Just think about the way that you've set your posture up. Just imagine the room that you're in. I want you to just really think about the body on the floor. Just think about that whole sort of position that you're in, whether there's any tension. Is there any tension at the back of the neck? Can you feel how your body feels? Can you sort of bring into consciousness, into your awareness, the fact that you're lying here, you're trying to release, rather than just sort of allowing other really odd thoughts to come in. We really don't want to be lying here and thinking about anything other than what we're actually trying to do here, which is, of course, to bring length into the spine, release muscle, get a kind of integrity of the mind and body, so that the mind is really focusing on the body, and that is essential if this is going to be effective. We lie there and we just allow our thoughts to wander off and we might as well do that while we're sort of up and about making a cup of tea. It's really important to just come back to an awareness of the self when you're doing this exercise, because this is your time to really, just forget about everyday life and in a way create a kind of paradise. And as you can see, I'm totally alone here. There's no one disturbing me. There's no phones. It's just really comfortable. And I just want you to then start to think about your breath. Now, if we think about breath, we must think about the nose. Why? Because the breath comes through the nostrils. That's the first place breath comes into the body. We really want now to just think about taking a nice deep breath, allowing that breath to come in. And of course, as we breathe, the breath comes in and then it gets held for a little pause, and then it comes out again. Often we get people breathing. In fact, when we first lie down, we might find the breathing's a bit like that if we've been busy running around. But as we lie there, the breath becomes deeper. We become more and more relaxed. We're really, really focusing on that. We really want to become aware and in a kind of way, not interfering with the breathing, not making the breathing happen, but just really thinking about how we're breathing, and perhaps just becoming aware of the journey of breath. It first comes in through the nose, and then it comes in, and then we pause, and then there's a need to exhale all the air, and then a little pause again, and so on. So we're here for a little while now. We've been here for a few minutes, and we're really thinking about focusing on the breathing. But suddenly we think about the whole body on the floor again. We're moving around. We're thinking, how are the feet feeling? What is the contact that the body's making with the floor? And I really want you to think about that. The back of the head is on the books. Are they comfortable? Are you releasing at the back of the shoulders there? How is the body really feeling here? How are we feeling as we're lying down? Are we getting relaxed? Is it quite difficult for us to stop thinking about stuff? Are we able to focus and just really, bring that awareness to the body? Now, often when we do this, we might want to also listen to a podcast or listen to some music, and that's actually fine. What I'm offering you here is the idea that we want to make the semi-supine much more about awareness, much more about a practical approach, and that we actually want to really do something about the body and about how things are, rather than just lying there sort of drifting off and so on. So it's a very conscious effort that we're trying to make here. So as you're lying there, just want you to sort of become aware of the room you're in. I want you to do things like sort of, oh yes, this is the room I'm in. I'm looking at the ceiling and softening the eyes. Sort of think about the eyes and how they're, we're going to keep the eyes open for the whole of this experience because, of course, consciousness is cultivated having the eyes open. If we close the eyes, we're likely to be going into a bit of a trance or a bit of a deep relaxation, disappearing. or as you can see here, what I'm doing is just slightly adjusting the head, because as we lie there, it compresses slightly. And so there might be that little adjustment there, and you can just sort of rewind that and have a look how that adjustment is done. And you might try it yourself, but you have to be very, very gentle. So going back to consciousness, we're trying to cultivate a mind-body experience here. We're trying to be mindful. So we don't want the mind to wander off and think about all kinds of other things. We want it to think about what we're doing. And what we're doing here is we're actually lying down and generating the energy to go up. We're releasing muscle, we're lengthening spine, we're trying to bring more integrity to the structure. And that actually is not something that happens without conscious effort. And so, of course, in the semi-supine, if we're capable of doing it, and we might find it hard at first, but with much practice, we become more conscious of what we're doing, more aware of consciousness. And at one point during this semi-supine, I really want you to think about being conscious of consciousness. What one psychoanalyst referred to once, which I liked, which is noticing the noticing. We're lying here and we're noticing the noticing. Okay? And in other words, we are not drifting off. We're totally conscious of what we're doing, and it's really, really helping with the process of bringing mind into the awareness of the body. And so that's why just lying there and thinking about the different aspects of the body lying there. Now, you just notice the hands move there. Now, the hands move because sometimes we can be pushing the hands really tightly into the body and we don't even realize it. Just make sure that your hands are splayed out very nicely, lots of space between the fingers, and that either side of the wrist is not tight. Sometimes you find, oh God, you're really pulling the thumb towards the wrist there and tightening, or the other way around. Just splay the hand very nicely. The tip of the fingers are touching the tip of the abdominal area, and in fact, what you find, there we are, we're adjusting the head again there. What you find is that with the fingertips being there, you can get a very good idea of what's happening with the breathing, because when we're breathing nicely, a nice deep sense of movement in the abdominal area. And of course, we should also feel it at the sides there, at the rib cage. And I want you to bring your consciousness into the breathing a lot, but not just the actual breathing, not just the oxygen, not just the air coming in through the nose, but also the way it makes the body move. And I think that's a very important part of semi-supine, where you really are, conscious of the way that the whole of the rib cage expands, particularly the lower moving ribs there, just feeling that expansion into the structure. And of course, good breathing happens, people do breathe too fast and they don't take enough oxygen in, and they don't allow that oxygen to do its work before sending it out again. So what you've got to have is an idea of just taking your time with breath and just really just feeling breath happen, without our interference. And in that case, what I generally find is that we should breathe really only about 3 to 4 times a minute. Now, if you think there are 60 seconds in a minute, if you're counting as the breath is coming in, probably should take from the moment you take in the breath to the moment you take in the next breath should be about 17 seconds. So if you think about 60 seconds in a minute, it's about 3 to 4 seconds. 3 to 4 breaths per minute. Now, if you find that hard, don't worry, but with much practice, it will come, and you will find that actually you are able to lie there and really not breathe, so manically as we do when we're upright, and if we don't have very good control of our breathing. Good. So we're continuing to lie there. We may just allow ourselves to take a moment where just generally aware of the body on the floor. We're just generally taking the time to think about how we are on the floor. And of course, we may also find that the knees are sort of wobbling. We may find that the legs fall. And when the legs fall, it's rather annoying. But also what people find is that they tighten at the level of the hips. Now that's annoying too. We don't want to tighten at the level of the hips. We want it to be a nice free sort of sense of space and just balance and so on. But actually, that doesn't come naturally. That doesn't come naturally at all. It takes time for that to come, and you have to keep practicing. And of course, again, just if you find the legs are falling to the left or right, or just the legs are splaying, just bring them up, and the knees have got to point to the ceiling. Now, another thing, when you're lying down, a lot of people said this to me, or do I, use my inhibition and my direction when I'm lying down? Actually, you'll be very surprised at how effective it is to say no, to doing anything. You'll find, particularly when you first lie down, actually, there is a tendency to do stuff, and you don't want to do it. Now, if you just watch here now, this is the hand exercise where we're going to move the hands and the arms. Just first of all, we're bringing the hand up into the air, facing the body still, the palm of the hand, and the fingers lengthening to the ceiling. And then we're going to just gently move the arm up. Now, all the time we're doing this, we're trying not to tighten at the level of the neck. We're trying not to tighten at the level of the abdominal area. In fact, we're trying to move the arm in isolation, gently, so that we don't cause any tightening in the body. And that is obviously a very different way of moving the body. And this we do, probably we want to be into the semi-supine about 10 or 12 minutes before we start doing this. So we've really relaxed. We've really got nice breathing. We're just going to bring the arms right up to the ceiling there, not tightening. We're not doing it in any way that brings in any tightening whatsoever. It's a very gentle movement, the kind of movement that we're trying to cultivate in general use in everyday life. Very soft muscles, very gentle, very sort of controlled in a nice, open, released way. And then we're going to bring those hands back down again. And as we bring those hands back down again, we're going to do the right one first and then the left. Probably find there's a sense of integrity about it. Oh, that feels as if it's been put in a very nice place indeed. And there's no tension there if we've done it correctly and if we've taken our time to do it. And then, of course, we're just going to rest again, come back to the breathing, allow ourselves to observe everything, just resting again. Now we've done an activity, albeit a very gentle one. We just want to make sure that, we're not going to tighten to do that movement, and that we're allowing the body to rest again and come back to that nice breathing. If we do something, it generally interferes with the breathing. So we can come back. Now we're going to do the legs. We're just going to slide that leg down nice and slowly, just sliding it down to full length and then stopping. Again, we might say something like neck free, stop, come back to the breath, take a deep breath. And then eventually we're going to bring that leg back up again. But, we're checking to make sure we've got a free neck, that we haven't tightened in the abdominal area, that nothing else in that movement of the leg has been disturbed. And then when we bring the leg back up again, we're placing it much more carefully. Now, you can see that left leg there. It's a little bit too far out, really, and it's been there all this time. When we do this exercise of moving the leg, and now we're obviously going to move the left one, we'll see that we're going to put the leg into a much better position. I mean, I think it was slightly too far out, so do bear that in mind, that when we're getting into the semi-supine position, we need to be aware of where things end up. Because there's this main drive to just stop and do nothing, we might not get everything in the right place before we start that process, but don't worry about that. We're just trying to deepen our experience of the semi-supine, and we're trying to make it a proper sort of conscious effort and, get the benefit of it. So as you can see now, because we've done that exercise, the arms and the legs are in a much better place. Now, like I say, just, don't do this immediately as you lie down. Give it some time to relax and the breathing to settle and to become deeper. And then about 10 to 12 minutes in, if you're doing a sort of basic 20-minute semi-supine, just then do this movement. And you don't have to do it every time. I'm just putting everything in here that you could possibly do, I suppose. But it's very nice to do that movement, but you must keep the neck free, be aware of not tightening in the abdominal area, and then that is very useful. So Now we have done that movement, we will then obviously want to stop and want to take some time again now and really try to think about all of those things that we've been thinking about so far, getting the neck to remain free, that we're not tightening, that we're allowing the shoulders to fall into the floor, that we're conscious of the lengthening along the floor, and that we are just balancing the knees in the right way, and that we're breathing deeply and we're very, very relaxed, and we're mainly conscious. We're not allowing ourselves to go into some sort of relaxation trance or anything like that, because this is Alexander Technique and it's very conscious work. And, hopefully now you can be aware of that we can keep ourselves quite busy when we're lying down, if we're busying ourselves with noticing the noticing, with our awareness. The semi-supine is an absolutely marvelous opportunity to be aware of the body, lengthening, breathing in a very ideal way, very deeply and calmly, just watching the release of muscle take place. And of course, we mustn't spend too much time thinking about other stuff. That is another exercise where we can sit on the sofa and think about stuff we need to think about. Here, we're really trying to bring mind together with the body. We're really trying to be very in touch with what is happening, what is taking place here in the body. Well, I hope that was helpful. Do subscribe, like, comment, and give positive feedback so that the channel may continue to grow. Thank you. Bye-bye.